I'm a spiritual advisor, and I like to say I'm a soul and self researcher for the last 20 years or so. It was actually someone I knew, someone I cared about and loved, and who I thought loved me. And I didn't have any of the emotional or relational intelligence to know what was happening. Our brain wants to control it. So we make it our fault because then we can control it rather than feeling unsafe and seeing the world as chaotic and that good people do bad things and bad people, well, they exist. And I also experienced a lot of things like disordered eating and difficulty exercising and a lot of difficulty with maintaining effective and healthy romantic and sexual relationships. There was just something deeply, deeply wrong with me. And there was no way from under it. That's how it felt. One of them was having a spiritual awakening, having a connection with a deep part of myself that was beyond that pain, to a point where I just collapsed on Boxing Day after like hosting a family Christmas. I just couldn't cope. So to me, it was just this huge thing. And it turned out I had a chronic vitamin D deficiency. And you just think, vitamin D, is that it? But it almost was, to me, what was so powerful about that, it was so simple. And to me, that like final bit of illness was almost like my soul going, honey, you can't have both. You've either got to thrive with this spiritual endeavor and your connection to source, or you're going to survive, but you're not going to have that deep connection.
And it's almost like our subconscious mind starts rejecting the body that holds the trauma, right? Like,
100%. If we imagine that, we tend to see our life as like a long string, but that's almost like two-dimensional. We can only see what's in front of us and what's behind us, but our life is actually this relational web. It's a cobweb. And just as if, a spider was here and a fly was over there, if one bounced, this would shake. It's a similar experience. This idea that we can go to a yoga class or start meditating once or go to therapy once and then we're just like done. It's like everything changes when you start shaking that web and moving it and finding something more secure and calm. Everything is going to change.
there are three phases to accident survival mode. First one is awareness, second one is reprogramming, and third is reinvention. And what you spoke about there was, the awareness that this one thing impacts everything. But oftentimes we view our issues and our life experiences as siloed events. There isn't anything that's siloed. Everything impacts
Mm.
everything else. Couldn't justify spending money on myself once I started making money. I
Mm.
would spend money on everybody else. Like, you came to me, you asked for money, I would give you my last. How do I put myself first? How do I prioritize me? And that's something over the last 6 years or so that I've actively had to work on to rewrite that narrative that was created when I was 10.
It means I can go, like, if you never connected that memory to that behavior, it helps to do that, but it's also okay to just work with the now and to work with what you've got now. But religion and spirituality was seen as for stupid people. It was something that only idiots believed in religion.
The subconscious mind cannot resist a question. You will not have an answer right away, oftentimes, but eventually you will find it because your brain will seek the answer. It absolutely cannot resist a question.
Encouraging and training ourselves to ask better questions is a really useful skill. Why does no one love me? To what if I could be loved? Or what if I'm already loved? It's just a little shift, but you
But it's a
feel
power.
that I'm a person and I get things wrong and I snap and I argue and say things that I regret. But it's okay. There's a peaceful place within me that I know is where I am safe and I'll always be safe. I'll always be loved.
I remember
Mm.
someone saying to me one day when I was very, very angry, that's a choice. And it pissed me off even more. What I didn't understand was that anger was really pain and sorrow that I didn't know how to express. But because I never really processed my emotions fully, I felt them and I held on to them, but never really processed.
Welcome every emotion into your house as if they were a guest. It's like let them come in, treat them well because they're going to leave soon. It's okay for it to go. You'll still be safe. You'll still have all the things you need. If we learn that there are all these guests in our house that are coming in and going out, I've found, and I've seen in people I work with, the rate of change and evolution just speeds up because you're not grabbing on, you're not attaching yourself to all of these challenges, but you're also not attaching yourself to this positive outcome.
And again, something I really didn't understand at one point until somebody said this to me. When you're holding on, and I'm gonna use my hands like you are holding on like a death grip. There is no capacity for anything else when you hold on so hard to uh, emotions, experiences, outcomes. Like we can choke the shit out of these things, right? Letting go, opening up our grip, and I'm using my hands for a
Mm.
reason, is I have capacity now. I have capacity to process. I have capacity to be curious. I have capacity to change my mind here. It's a big difference.
Sometimes I'm walking around just with my fist ball going, "Grr, everyone's so annoying, girl." It's very relaxed. It's not any particular type of meditation. It's just getting used to the idea of sitting together without constantly feeling the need to think and feel and do stuff, because that is the first step in letting go. There's nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. And if you can believe that, even for a second, you are already on the way to truly healing.